Our postmark today says the village of Wing in the county of Rutland. It's a very furry postcard just for you. Now, when people see you spinning like that, Brenda, they might think you've got a load of sheep out the back or you've just brought a load of old wool in. Would they be right?
No, unfortunately, they'd be very, very wrong. Because
what are you actually doing?
I'm spinning mohair from Angora goats, from actually the only Angora goat herd in Rutland.
Now, if I keep touching Brenda, then it's because she's wearing this fabulous top. And it's all made from your old goats. Why do I want to keep saying old goats?
They're not really.
They're not all old, are
goats.
they?
No, some of them are very young, tiny goats. They are. In fact, the softest and the best mohair comes from the kids. Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. Like, what makes a person suddenly attracted to creating a very unsettled lifestyle? So you can't just sit in your chair and have a nice sort of cosy life, because you've now created a great deal of work for yourself, haven't you?
Well, that's absolutely true. Yes, I have. But,
do you regret it?
Oh no, not a bit. They're such fascinating animals, and they're lovely. They're lovely, and they've got such nice temperaments that I'm afraid I'm a bit foolish about them, and I tend to get rather a lot of them.
So you're a giddy goat yourself?
At the moment, if you like. At the moment, I've got 30. I've reduced from 55 down to 30. So.
And how many years have you been goating?
About 9.
Nine, so that's not very long then.
No, it's not very long.
And what happened? What was that great moment in your life where you looked at the goat and thought, my goodness, you and I could really become something big?
It's the old story, really. We have a paddock behind the house, and we were looking for something to keep the grass down. And one day I saw these Angora goats at a show, just a little exhibition of them, and I just fell in love with them, and that was it, really. I took Brian to see them, that's my husband, and he quite liked them, and one of the goats made a big fuss of him, so then he was sold too. And that's how it all started.
And it's now become, apart from a full-time occupation, what is interesting is you're also carrying on tradition, aren't you?
Yes, that's
with your
true.
Little spinning wheel
That's
here.
true. That is absolutely
And
true.
how long have we been shearing goats for mohair in Britain?
They first came into the country in Victorian times, and then they died out again. And they were reintroduced in 1981. So they've only been back in the country since 1981.
That's interesting. Where is their natural home?
Turkey. They're called Angora goats. People think that it's because they were found around Ankara, and the English corruption of Ankara was Angora, and that's how it came
That's
about.
fascinating,
Yeah.
because lots of people will think that mohair is from sheep.
Yes, that's true. They think it's from mows, actually, which is, of course,
That sounds like an old round the horn
don't exist.
thing. One man
Yes.
meant to mow, went to mow a meadow.
Well, that's what they do think. So whenever I'm spinning anywhere, I take lots of pictures with me so they can actually see what they do.
We'll have a
look
look
like.
at a mow. And when you got the sheep back then with Brian,
The goats.
sorry, the sheep. I'm thinking of the mow. When you brought the mows back.
Yes.
When you brought the goats back with Brian and you went up the top paddock, did you at that time just think, oh, this is a good way to cut the grass? Did you know at that point what you were letting yourself in for?
No. I'd always thought that when I retired, I would learn to spin. I don't know why. I was going to learn to spin, and I was hopefully going to learn to paint, but or at least go to classes. Well, the painting's gone by the wayside because
you've got the colour.
goats. Well, true.
You're getting
true.
all your colour, aren't you?
Yes, that's true. Because the goats have taken over, and the spinning and weaving and everything has really taken over.